What is up, guys, and welcome back to the episode of the F1 Clash 2024 series. We are here for episode number 16 today. If you guys did miss the previous episode, definitely be sure to go check that one out before you see this one then, as we get set for two more races here, and we are going to be starting off, well, just like last episode at the Canadian GP in Montreal. You might have noticed there from the loading screen that our team score has increased quite substantially. We finally had a lot of money just to cash in, so finally managed to splurge some upgrades in, and now hopefully this can translate to some decent pace here as we come across the line here for 17th and 21st. Again, using a different lineup as well here, with Piastri leading the charge there in 17th and Russell in 21st. Of course, not the greatest qualifying, but we can deal with that as we go to 5 red lights here. Piastri does not get the greatest start, but Russell does there. Luckily, we are using some interesting boosts here. Piastri is using a ballast boost to counteract those lower race start stat, but didn't really work that much. But Russell is also using a tulip boost here, which is going to look to work on the, most importantly, the pit stop timing here. His other stats are pretty decent as well, but the reason why I wanted the pit stop timing was because if he is the lead driver, which he currently is right now, it is going to require us to double stack. It is going to be dry at the end of the race. It's going to be 2 laps of dry here, so we're going to unfortunately have to double stack not once, but twice here. But hopefully with the likes of Russell having good pace here, we should be decent and good enough to go. As we make our way onto lap number 2, then Russell not looking too bad. At the moment, he's currently sitting there, I think that is P14 then, and Piastri is making a couple moves here and there here. That I can see the green is working. Sometimes seeing a lot of attacks, sometimes seeing a lot of defense, but more importantly, he is just looking okay at the moment. We are going to have to spread these guys out a little bit here as we get set then for lap number 3, then with Russell leading the charge here. We're going to be asking Piastri soon to put him on conserve while Russell can continue the attack and hopefully try to build a gap between the two drivers, and he's doing just that here as we give the command, and now Russell is simply just doing his work as we conserve a bit of power unit to push down into the next set of corners here. Arrival, not exactly sure what he's going to do. Maybe he will also do the double stack, but we'll have to figure out and see here. To come onto the main straight, there is a nice gap that's formed between Piastri and Russell, so hopefully this works out in the end. As into the pits they come here. Russell will come in nice and easy, and then we'll have Piastri right afterwards. And there's a bit of a hold up with the drivers, but it's definitely not too much. 5.2 seconds there for Russell. So despite the fact that we had invested some time in those upgrades and he had a time boost, in the end it did not work there, as unfortunately that just kind of sucked. But anyways, we can continue moving on forward. The Piastri has a decent amount of battery juice to kind of push him forward here, so hopefully this can be a decent lap for him as we make our way onto the main straight here. Piastri again looking to try to overtake the rival here, but unfortunately that does not work out then. But we have another shot then down the main straight on towards lap number 5 then. Russell looking decent there in, I think, what is that, P10 there, and Piastri is in P16, not exactly sure, but look, just I think that's where they are at the moment. Russell, unfortunately, though, is losing a couple positions here and there, but he does manage to get past, as does Piastri as well. So Piastri looking good so far, as is Russell here, as we make our way onto the back straight once again here. Feels like every time I say once we get onto the back straight, we are at there. But we're going to be doing the same thing again, because now the rain has stopped and we are going to be switching onto the soft tires. But that's going to require us to take us another extra lap here, because the track, well, it's not slick ready just yet here. We're going to be waiting then for one more lap here. That'll be the ideal time to swap to slicks, and then we should be good to go. So we're now confirming both drivers will be swapping onto the soft compounded tires. Russell is given the hurry up. Piastri is given the order to make some space here, and just in case we don't double stack them like last time. So hopefully this should work for us as we make our way onto the back straight. Then Russell will come into the pits, as will Oscar Piastri. We'll see how they shape up here as Russell gets the wet tires off, soft tires on. This time it is a decent enough double stack. Piastri was held up a little bit actually in the pits on him by himself, simply because of the traffic in the pit lane there. But regardless of that, it's a good stop for both of these guys, and they're both back out into the race here with 1.5 laps to go, and it's looking to be like another win for us at the moment. As long as we get these next lap and a half done perfectly, we should be okay. And Russell is looking decent here. Piastri is looking decent. We are definitely on the right tire. You can see Russell's making plenty of moves here up through the field. Then he is currently up into P number 8, and Piastri is sitting there in P, I think that's 13. So he's not looking too bad. Russell's not looking too bad. See if we can bring this home here as we start the final lap of this Canadian GP, and we are still in the lead, quote unquote, then against our rival. So that is also a good sign, as Piastri is up into P13 now, so looking good. So originally he was P15, sorry, apologies for the improper commentary here, but Russell is kind of in no man's land at the moment. He's in P8, but there's no one really around him, so he's going to settle then for some nice points. But Piastri is making another move then up into P12, and Russell will come across the line to take 8th place, and Piastri in 12th. So that was a very, very solid race, and quite a simple strategy at the end. 3 wets, 2 softs, but hey, we take the easy wins, we take all of that as we wait for our rival to finish crossing the line. And we'll see where he ends up. As you can see, there's actually rain at the end of that race as well. But luckily, it just got dry enough to the point where we could use the slicks. A standard crate then, unfortunately, just for our efforts. But like last time around, we do have some free crates to open as well. At this point, we're gaining a lot more assets. We did, of course, use a lot of coins. And you can see the coin value is, or the amount of coins that we have is not a lot because we upgraded a lot. So let's see how this works out in the end. We can also open our standard crate, our spoils from last race here. And again, it's not really that much. We have already acquired a lot of the assets from Series 4, or at least a lot of the new assets. So at this point, it's just about trying to push through and see how high we can get here. And we're going to be doing another race here. And really, just like last episode, our second race is at China, more specifically at the Shanghai International Circuit. And more specifically, it's also raining at the Shanghai International Circuit. So we're back here once again. It's literally deja vu all over again between this episode and the previous episode, and it's looking good for us as Piastri and Russell qualify 15th and 16th respectively, with our rival using Magnussen and Perez. I have not seen that Perez been used often, kind of for good reason, because his stats are not that good. So in the end, it could really depend on what we do here. As we get onto the grid here, Piastri would get the self-control boost, Russell gets the Warrior boost. 5 red lights here, and it's a perfect start there for George Russell. And look at the moves he's making as we get off the line here. Those Warrior boosts and that perfect start working absolutely beautifully here, as Russell is now up into P9, that is, with Piastri in P14 here. So Piastri getting a bit of a slower start, but he is still making up a couple positions here as he's up at the P12. And look at Russell here making moves using the cinematic camera as well, as Russell makes it 3 wide there, and beautiful moves there up into P6 then. So great moves there from the Brit. Going back into the standard camera here with Piastri now in P10. And this time around, because there's rain actually at the end of the race, it's probably going to be, well, for Russell it's going to be a 2-3-2, 2 soft, 3 medium, 2 wet. For Piastri it's probably going to be 3 medium, 2 soft, and 2 wet. And I say that the safety car has come out, and unfortunately Russell and Piastri both just crossed the pit lane entry, but our rival chose not to pit as well, and this is a good opportunity to get onto to get a free pit stop, probably switch onto the hard tires, because ideally we want to make it to lap number 5, but I think we will be able to do that successfully, because given the fact that currently the weather is looking not too bad, the safety car still has not left the pit lane, so we'll see how this ends up. Russell is on the main straight. We should have a decent enough gap then to double stack it. We're going to be double stacking here actually onto the medium tires. Apologies, I thought those were the hard tires. I forgot the hard tires. Not that good in the game. But we are going to be double stacking here to get a free pit stop here. Piastri will have 3 laps on those mediums, so will Russell. That way we can make it to the rain period and then swap over to the wet tires. As we have our first pit stop here with George Russell onto the medium tires. Good pit stop here, 5.24 seconds. Probably held up there a little bit in the pits there, but let's see what Piastri can pull off here as he gets the medium tires on as well. 4.9 seconds, so slightly faster than for the Australian, and we do maintain the quote-unquote lead over our rival as he's also electing to pit under the safety car as well. presumably, I think they're saying onto the medium tires. Yes, that is onto the medium tires. So he will also be looking to make it to the rain period. With the safety car is just making its way onto the really long back straight. Russell is just about joining the queue there. So as is Piastri. Russell sitting in P9, Piastri sitting in P17. So, but I do suspect a lot of the guys still have to pit. So we are looking actually not too bad in terms of track position. We got a free pit stop under the safety car. We should be ready to go for the rain period potentially at the end here. It'll depend how quickly the laps go though, because we are ending the safety car with 1 minute and 50 seconds until the rain starts. So for all we know, as long as these laps continue, this may actually not happen here until the last lap. In that case, that would kind of screw us over, because these mediums can only really last 3 laps around the circuit at best here. So we'll have to see. Each lap will probably have to be around the likes of 50 seconds, 45 seconds, so we'll have to see how quickly this ends up. But for now, we are going to throw that on the windows. Piastri is up into P9. Russell is up to P5. They're looking to try and attack P4. Piastri is now up into 7th then, as Russell is getting stuck. I think that is behind his own driver, George Russell, but he makes a move. They're up into P4, so a great opening lap then from us. But luckily, the time is perfect, because we are crossing that pit entry line at 106. That was 46 seconds there. So we are going to actually elect to start on the softs here, because simply put, these drivers are not making it to the end there. So we were going to have to do probably a one and dash done on the soft tires, and then have to swap over to the wet. Again, it will also depend on how quickly it becomes wet as well. But while looking at the gaps here between both drivers, besides both drivers, also looking at the fact that our rival could potentially pit as well and steal this, so we'll have to see here. We could also just pull off the soft tires. They all, of course, have the highest grip compared out of all of the 3 slick tires, so this could actually end up working for us if we do manage to do this, and we are going to stick with this option as we cross the pit lane with 20 seconds with Piastri here. And you can see our rival is also pitting as well, so I think our rival actually has the same idea in mind here. Yeah, we actually know, we can see he's on the wet tires as well for both drivers. So right now, this is a very high risk, high reward scenario. We are going to use these soft tires to their advantage as best as we can here, as the rain is now starting to fall then, and both drivers are, well, they're right now on the soft tires here. We'll have to see how quickly they make up positions, as Piastri is now up into 8th. Russell is still sitting then in 5th place then for now. But the key thing here is going to be trying to maintain our speed on the straights, and also trying to maintain our speed through the corners as we start the final lap then of this Chinese Grand Prix here. Can we keep our positions here? Russell's up into P4 then. Remember, on the slick tires, as of now though, not a lot of people are on the wet tires. You saw Verstappen there for a flash on that chart is the only one in the top 10, or really the only one in the top 5, sorry, who is on the wet tires there. But as for a lot of other people, they are being stubborn. They are sticking it out on the on the slick tires. You can see the benefits of the soft tire compared to a rival, as you can see us moving up into P3 ahead of Lewis Hamilton there, who I also presume is on the slick tires. We passed him really easily there, but he's probably on really old, really slick old tires. But I say that he's going to get immediately overtaken there. Verstappen is just behind us here, I think that is. But we're going to come across the line with Russell in P4, then Piastri is going to come home in P6 then. I say that as we get an iPhone maybe too close warning, which made no sense despite the fact that our iPhone was way farther away compared to the actual screen. But we're going to ignore that, because this still gave us a win, as we take home 2 wins out of 2 in the same races. And that's going to be it for this episode. Thank you all so much for watching. I will see you guys all in the next episode then for another race.